Score, baby!
We're all good at something. Maybe it's breakdancing or skateboarding or video games. Whatever you're good at, you have the skills to make it happen. And those same skills will help you get to college. Visit knowhowtogo.org to learn what you should be doing right now to prepare for college. Start taking the steps at knowhowtogo.org.
I've got what it takes. So do you.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation, and the Ad Council.
Look at all the cars. Lots of colored cars. Ah, there's a blue one. Isn't it pretty? Ooh, look how fast that red one's going. It's red like that stop sign. Like my jacket.
This is a 38-year-old man.
My jacket's not a car, is it? Is my jacket a car? My jacket is red, but it doesn't go fast.
He may sound a little strange to you and me.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
But to his 2-year-old son who's interested in cars and colors, he makes perfect sense.
That's the sound cars make.
When you talk with your child, you build vocabulary, and learning starts long before school does. So follow their lead. Take simple everyday moments like eating dinner or just watching cars go by and turn them into learning moments.
Ooh, look, red car.
Yes, it's moving awfully fast.
Blue car.
Yes, the man in the red car's about to meet the man in the blue car. Get himself a pretty pink ticket.
Turn everyday moments into learning moments. For more tips, go to bornlearning.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
I feel like the Dallas Cowboys have positioned themselves to win the Michael Parsons trade. Quentin Williams was one of the big acquisitions with the capital that Jerry Jones got when he dealt Michael on the eve of last season. And you saw that Dallas Cowboys defense took a leap in terms of improvement. And so I think they see him as a foundational piece for what Christian Parker, their new defensive coordinator, wants to do.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday morning starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. The Rich Eisen Show.
Vikings have already decided. It's Kyler Murray. All right, Kevin O'Connell won.
I think he's demonstrated a mastery of our system and this year's system.
Mastery of system, by the way. That's not a bad fantasy name.
It's a Metallica album.
Mastery of the system is the
Metallica.
Smell the glove.
The Rich Eisen Show from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN Plus, and on Disney Plus.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 1061 ESPN.
Start your morning right with Ironclad Coffee Roasters and Baking Company, the official coffee of Fitz the Bill and ESPN Richmond. They have fresh artisan pastries made from scratch daily in their own in-house bakeries to go along with some of the best coffee in RVA. 3 locations, one in Shockoe Bottom, one in the West End, and one in Lynchburg. Check them out too online at ironcladcoffee.com. Fitz the Bill is powered by Ironclad Coffee Roasters and Baking Company each and every morning.
Richmond, it's time to get your morning going.
We are going to wreak havoc.
Holy catfish!
Richmond Sports Talk by Richmond sports fans. This is Fitz the Bill with Jack Fitzpatrick. All live from the capital of the Commonwealth, where sharp analysis, your cause, and Richmond always come first. If it's making headlines locally or nationally, we're breaking it down. Now, live from the capital of the Commonwealth. It's the Bill with your host, Jack Fitzpatrick.
Good Thursday morning. Appreciate you clocking in, getting your day started with us right here on 1061 ESPN Richmond, ESPN Richmond app, ESPNRichmond.com. We are doing our AFC division winners today. We're doing our high school football previews. That's at 8:15, a little earlier than usual. Hermitage, Highland Springs, and Verina are the 3 teams we are focusing in on today for our 3-a-days. Plus, Bennett Conlin will join us right at 9 a.m. to kick off hour number 2. Talk a little bit about JMU football. And then to finish out hour number 2, it's a Thursday edition of Sidetracked. This week's edition features Kai Laird from T-Box Richmond. We dive into how he landed in Richmond, how he ended up opening up a T-Box, and we learn an interesting tidbit or two about Kai Laird. So that is a fantastic conversation. We've got a couple of great guests coming up in the next couple of weeks as well for Sidetracked. Next week, it's going to be Dr. Alvin Parker, Virginia Union football's head coach. We're catching up with him later this week, and we'll air that one next week as well. And of course, on Sidetrack, let's get this out the way at the top. You can subscribe to it wherever you find podcasts, Apple, Spotify. It's also on YouTube at Fitz the Bill ESPN RVA, and you can hear and see a lot of behind-the-scenes information over on our Instagram as well, Fitz the Bill ESPN RVA. So, Alan, we're going to kick off with AFC division winners on this Thursday morning. Yesterday we did NFC. Today we're doing AFC. Tomorrow, Lake Lewis Jr. is going to be joining us in studio in hour number 2. And we're going to try and paint the playoff picture using the last 2 days of data and see where Lake's mind is at as well when it comes to some of these picks that I have. Kicking it off today is the AFC East. And I have a feeling we are going to disagree pretty heavily on this very first one. Because in the AFC East, I've got the Patriots winning it. And it's more so a survival of the fittest pick because Bills are in year 1 with a new coach. The Jets are, how do I put this nicely? Blah? That's a nice way to put bad, right?
The Jets are the Jets.
The Jets are just blah. And then you've got the Dolphins who are actively tanking. And I don't say that lightly. We don't see that one often. The Dolphins are actively tanking. No one told Malik Willis when he signed his contract that the Dolphins were actively tanking. He signed the contract. I feel for him. Then what, like a week or two later, they're like, you know what? That top receiver you thought you were going to have in Jalen Waddle, we're shipping him over to Denver. Good luck, Malik. So with that, the Patriots are just the last team to survive. I don't have a lot of faith in Joe Brady and the Buffalo Bills. They've got arguably the best quarterback in the National Football League with Josh Allen, right? But this offseason, they moved off from Sean McDermott to get a fresh new start. They wanted to get rid of that culture. They wanted to get rid of that feeling around the building that Sean McDermott had around him. And what did they do to get that fresh start going? They made an internal hire. Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, he had been with the team since 2022. After he got fired by Carolina in the middle of 2021, he became the QB coach in Buffalo in 22, interim offensive coordinator in 23, and then he's been the full-time OC in 24 and 25. And the Bills said, you know what? With this new culture we want to instill, with this fresh new look, we are going to go with an internal hire. Joe Brady in Carolina, right? His 2 years there, it averaged out to be 29th in the NFL in EPA per play. His first year, they were 19th. That was the 2020 season. In 2021, they fell all the way to 30th, and he ended up getting fired in week 13 of the 2021 season. Then it took him some time to get back to the full-time OC stuff. He did really well with Buffalo, right? He was second in the NFL in EPA per play in 24, third this past season. Both of those years above 0.14 in terms of EPA per play, which is a really, really, really good mark. And he has shown, even back to his LSU days, he is an elite level OC when he has elite level talent, but he's not shown that he can do more with less, which is something that I kind of worry about as he takes over the head man role up there in Buffalo. Then you look over on the other side, the Patriots, right? They didn't get worse. They added A.J. Brown, and the Patriots still have the 10th easiest schedule in the NFL per Warren Sharp. Am I being too harsh on Joe Brady and the Buffalo Bills? I think they make the playoffs. Let me be clear there. I just don't think they win the AFC East.
Yeah, so I think I want to pick Buffalo to win the AFC East. I will pick Buffalo to win the AFC East, but it's more so just because, when we talk about regression candidates, I think the Patriots, despite them getting A.J. Brown, it's like the prime Super Bowl regression candidate.
They are.
So when it comes to the coaching ability of Joe Brady, I go to Sean Payton
disciple.
Sean Payton spoke very highly of him. There was a rumor that Sean Payton even considered giving up play calling duties to pull him in as offensive coordinator for the Broncos, and the Bills shut that down and made him head coach. I think a lot of people forget Joe Brady was the hot topic when he came out of LSU.
In 2020, when he went to Carolina, he was the hot name on the market.
He just lashed himself to an awful head coach and an even worse quarterback at that time.
Who even was that quarterback?
You wouldn't even recognize the guy now, honestly.
Can I get? Do you know who it is?
It was Sam Darnold.
Was it Sam Darnold?
Yeah, it was Sam Darnold.
And Baker Mayfield. Oh, that's right. That was, man.
Matt Rule's first year.
Oh, man.
That's why I was joking. You wouldn't even recognize him.
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking like Will Greer or something.
No, it was.
Darnold.
I believe that was the Sam Darnold experiment is what I would call it. But I want to say Sean Payton, I think, is a good coach. I think he can coach. I think he can handle
Joe Brady.
Joe Brady, yeah, I keep saying Sean Payton. Gosh. But I mean, hopefully for the Bills fans, that's who he is, right? Like he turns into a Sean Payton. But I think he's got the pedigree. He's been part of successful systems. He's handled the play calling duties and the leadership aspect. Like he's not a guy that people are gonna just walk over, right? And so in this era of the McDonald's, the Mentors, the Ben Johnsons, why not a Joe Brady, right? Like why would we not Joe Brady for his promotion, but we get hype about all these other guys? Kubiak, people are hype about him. Yeah. So why hype about him, but like, on Joe Brady?
I think if Joe Brady went somewhere else, and this might be my own type of weird mind games that I play, right? But if Joe Brady had gone somewhere else, I would be excited about what he would bring to a team. It's just the fact that the Buffalo Bills, the whole reason they moved off of Sean McDermott was to get this fresh start and was to kind of get that stench out of the building. And what did they do? They hired internally. And I know Joe Brady is a different person than Sean McDermott. A coordinator is not just the carbon copy of their head coach. I do understand that. But it just felt like an interesting hire. And it's been a very disjointed offseason for the Buffalo Bills. The owner comes out and says Keon Coleman's one of the worst draft picks ever.
About that. That was crazy.
Joe Brady's like, I actually love Keon Coleman because he's still on our roster and we actually need him because we only have DJ Moore as our wide receiver.
Who I think is going to not be what they expect.
Well, exactly. It's like they trade for DJ Moore. They give him a big extension. Just feels a little disjointed. It just doesn't feel like they're all on the same path together. And so I do worry. And again, I got Buffalo making the playoffs. I just think year one with the coach, give me the edge to Vrabel, who is an experienced guy who got them to a Super Bowl a year ago. And they are primed for regression, but not too much regression, right? Because they still have the 10th easiest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah. So, and my train of thought is give me the best quarterback in that division.
My train of thought is give me the best coach,
yeah,
and an MVP candidate.
Yeah. So, you think Drake May's an MVP candidate?
Was he not last season?
Yeah, last season, which was definitely a down year.
Okay, it was a down year for Josh Allen, who was not in MVP conversation.
I don't expect to see any of that this year, but who knows, man?
I'm just saying, if we're talking MVP candidates, granted, Josh Allen has an MVP. Drake May was right on the cusp of winning MVP last season.
Still crazy to say, but if we looked at it like this, if I told you, let's take the guy who arguably made Joe Burrow into the NFL quarterback that he is today, and let's stick him with Josh Allen, would you not be more optimistic?
You're right in that sense, but it's still year one head coach. Yeah. It's still a year one head coach.
Yeah, the hardest part, I think, of young coaches is managing the responsibilities of coaching. So I don't know how much offensive input he's going to have, but if Joe Brady thinks he's going to call plays and be head coach, then I would send out all red flags and I will join you on the Patriots bandwagon. But if he can delegate,
he plans to continue calling plays.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, that was short-lived for me.
It's tough. Mike McDonald did it. Mike McDaniel did it in Miami. You saw how that ended. Mike McDonald won a Super Bowl, but it's different as a defensive coach than as an offensive coach.
I'm a 49er fan, and for the last 5 years, I've pleaded for Kyle Shanahan to give up play calling responsibility.
Florida fans, if I can make this comparison to JMU, right? Florida fans were saying that for the entire Billy Napier era.
Yeah.
He then comes to JMU. He realized that calling plays and being the head coach was too much, brings in a really highly respected offensive coordinator in Cam Aiken. Coaches typically realize that, especially offensive coaches, because it's such a more, you're so much more in your head.
It takes you away from everything else.
Mike McDonald also, and this isn't me trying to glaze the Seahawks or anything, but he did a really good job of bringing in an assistant head coach in Leslie Frazier, who had prior head coaching experience with the Vikings, brings in Leslie Frazier, and like game day stuff, you have essentially a second head coach on the sideline.
In fact, he's probably deferring to Leslie. I mean, Leslie's he's a Super Bowl champion himself on top of the coaching experience.
So exactly. So I am intrigued to see how Buffalo plays out. I got the Patriots winning the AFC East. The Jaguars, I have winning the AFC South.
Nah.
Can I just throw a couple of stats at you about CJ Stroud?
You could throw everything you want at me, but I'm just going to keep saying the defense.
You're right. The defense is elite, and the defense nearly got them to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But CJ Stroud is a guy I do not trust. This is a put up or shut up year, and I'm not breaking any news when I say that, right? CJ Stroud, he has sucked, downright sucked the last 2 seasons. He had a great rookie campaign, and I'm putting great in quotation marks because we didn't have hugely high expectations, right?
He got him to the playoffs, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that was a miracle.
Was that the defense or was that CJ Stroud?
No, that was CJ Stroud then. He didn't have that defense right there.
CJ Stroud, if you look at some of his stats that season, he was good, not great. He steadied the ship. He was good his rookie year. I'll give him that. Last 2 seasons, he ranks 29th in the NFL in adjusted EPA per play, and he ranks 31st in the NFL with a 45% success rate. That is downright bad. That is not good. That is horrid. He's supposed to be a guy that is considered a top 10 QB. After his rookie season, we thought he was going to be a top 10, top 5 maybe even type of quarterback. He right now, since that rookie year, you throw out that rookie year, he is among the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL. So yeah, the defense is elite. The defense is great for Houston, but that is not an entire team. Meanwhile, the Jaguars a season ago, they turned it on after their bye week and became a total team. They went from 4-3 in weeks 1 through 7 to 9-1 week 9 on. In the first 7 weeks of the season, they ranked 22nd on offense in EPA per play, 19th in success rate. After their bye week, so week 9 on, ranked 7th in the NFL in EPA per play, and 11th in success rate. I have full faith that the Jaguars are an entire team. They are coached by a fantastic offensive mind. They have got a fantastic defensive coordinator. That defense really started to find its rhythm as the year went on as well. I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. I think he's the best quarterback in the division, and I'm taking what I think is the second best coach because I think D'Amico's the best coach in that division.
Oh, yeah. D'Amico is next level.
We're kind of flip-flopped on this one where the Patriots, I was like, I want the best coach and a quarterback. And then I said, I will say, just kind of flip-flop. It's funny.
Our guy Cohen isn't that bad at all. Actually,
he's one of the best offensive minds.
Yeah, and I think he's also a good stabilizer. Like he never let the team get too far ahead of themselves. But this is going to be funny to some people. But my man CJ cut his locks, so there's only certain things you can do to ascend as an athlete. And typically, it deals with your hair. In basketball, when guys go from the receding hairline to bald, they ascend. They become legends. All of our legends are bald, basically, in basketball. Or at some point, they went bald. This man cut his locks off in February. Coleridge Bernard Stroud IV is going to light the league up this year.
Did you just look up his entire name?
Yes, I did, because I had to know what CJ stood for. But
what does it stand for? Coleridge?
Yeah, his name is Coleridge Bernard Stroud IV. And so CJ is just Coleridge Jr.
But he's the four. All right, whatever. I'm not here to judge.
Look, hey, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. Coleridge Bernard Stroud.
Coleridge goes hard.
He's got the taper, man. He's got the mean fade. It's a wrap. It's a wrap for the league.
Is it like Hoodie Mello?
Yeah, pretty much. This is what we're going to see.
Like, he's got to figure something out. He's got to do anything possible. He's also got to, I don't know if he has yet, but he's got to put that podcast on hiatus. Every player.
I haven't seen or heard much about it either.
So maybe he is poised for a breakout year because when he got the podcast, production did.
All jokes aside, the CJ Stroud roller coaster, the peak is that game against Georgia. Everybody can go back and watch
bringing
it.
This
I
game
know,
up.
because that's the best you'll ever see him play.
But that was 2022.
Exactly. And so we need to find that once again. I don't know where it went, but we have yet to see that type of play from him at that level. Like all the other great quarterbacks, you see their moments of greatness in college, and you've seen that in the NFL.
He's an inconsistent quarterback.
Yeah, he hasn't had that yet. So hopefully getting Tank Dell back and just having his weapons around him will help. I still think talent-wise, he's got the goods, man. But again, that defense.
Bryce Young's also got the goods. They just lack the consistency. And one of his weapons is out for the season. Jaden Higgins tore his ACL yesterday.
Yeah, everybody's getting hurt, man.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm with the Texans in that division. I think it's Texans or bust. Honestly,
I think it's the Jet, man. I was all in on the Jags. I'd picked the Jags to make it to the Super Bowl, and then they just couldn't. They could not stick with the run. They were averaging 6 yards.
It's the sunshine effect, man. We're still enamored with them.
I'm all in on the Jags. AFC West. You're going to laugh at this.
I know. I'm already laughing.
The Denver Broncos.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I threw you a curveball. You thought I was going to go Chargers. Look, I want to go Chargers. I want to go Chargers so bad. But Tyler Biadasz, the center that they signed at the start of free agency from the Commanders. He is going to be missing. They haven't said how long, but they have just said a significant amount of time with a knee injury. And so, look, the Chargers, what has been the biggest issue for the Chargers the last, I don't know, ever?
Health.
Last year they lost Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater before we even got to the month mark. Both all-pro level tackles they lost. And that just kind of torpedoed their entire season. This year, before we even take a snap, much like last year with Rashawn Slater, they lost their crown jewel of the offseason in Tyler Biadasz. I cannot, in good health, in good mind, in sound mind, pick the Los Angeles Chargers to win the AFC West. The Denver Broncos, kind of similar to the AFC East, are just the survival of the fittest. Look, I get the Chiefs are in that division, but Mahomes is coming off of the ACL injury. Rashee Rice was in jail for a month, rehabbing his surgically repaired knee in jail, and they just have no other big play guys. Sure, they went out and got Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker is a home run or a strikeout type of runner behind the offensive line that has regressed each and every year. I don't know how good K9 is going to be. Plus, Denver actually got better this offseason in adding Jalen Waddle. Bo Nix, he's coming off of an injury of his own as well, but he never really relied on his mobility in the way that Patrick Mahomes did. So I think he'll be fine. And that defense, led by Vance Joseph, the DC, is going to be elite again. The last couple of years since Vance Joseph took over the reins as the DC, that Denver defense has been one of the best in the NFL. I think Denver just does enough to get it done.
Broncos defensively have had a run over the last decade, man. You can go back to the Peyton Manning era.
Starting with their Super Bowl, they've only had a couple of down years.
Yeah, they've been pretty consistent on that side of the ball. Where would you rank Justin Herbert in quarterbacks in the league? Is he in your top 10?
He was in my top 10.
Right. Is he?
Someone didn't listen to the quarterback episode.
I know, but I'm trying to make a point. Is he in your top 7?
I got to go back and look at my list. I want to say he's fringe top 6.
Top 6?
So let's say he's 6.
Then him losing his center should be enough for him to still win this division.
Yeah, sure.
Because from a talent perspective, you're saying he's an elevator.
I still think, there's a level of elevator when it comes to your skill position players. You can't really elevate a bad offensive line. Russell Wilson tried to do it for so many years.
One guy, at least his tackles are still up, right?
I will say it's good timing, much like the Laramie Tunsil injury. Great timing, because you can now work through a new center and get all of that timing stuff worked out. I think, again, this is another pick where the Chargers are making the playoffs, but the Denver Broncos are winning the division.
If you're telling me that Justin Herbert is a top 6 quarterback, then the Chargers should still be your pick, is all I'm saying. But I'm going Broncos too, because
Broncos have the better defense. Broncos have arguably the better coach. Broncos are more healthy as it stands right now. Broncos have the better set of skill players. The Broncos are a better team around Bo Nix.
Yeah, and on both sides of the ball, they're better than all the rest of the teams. And it is more than just, obviously the quarterbacks, but we can name dudes on their defense. We can name dudes on their offense, right? In fact, I believe, don't they have Harvey as one of their running backs? I think he's
RJ Harvey.
Yeah, I think he's going to take a step forward this year. And Bo Nix coming off the injury doesn't concern me as much either, because he's got a lot of experience in this offense now, and I've already seen him look more comfortable. So I think they can be dangerous. And with Waddle added to this system, they now have a true explosive player that they can throw at people.
And my AFC North pick, Baltimore Ravens. I have no faith in the Bengals. I got no faith in the Browns. I got no faith in the Steelers. I just hope that Lamar Jackson stays healthy. It's really that simple in the AFC North.
Yeah, we had a texter yesterday ask about the over-under on the Ravens. I believe it's about 10.5 or 11 wins. I'm okay with taking a shot at that over. I think
11.5 right now.
11.5. All right, never mind. Never mind. I'm not that high on it.
I think 10-11 is just about right.
I was thinking falling on 11. Now I'm not. And I'm not taking the 12.
And this might. I think 10 or 11 wins the AFC North. They're going to beat up one another. Can you win your non-divisional games? I think the Ravens can do that if Lamar Jackson stays healthy. I still think Lamar, was second in my QB rankings, right behind Josh Allen. And that's only because he's coming off of an injury. Lamar Jackson is my favorite quarterback in the NFL. No question. He's appointment television. And you look at how the schedule starts for the Baltimore Ravens, they could be sitting at, 7-0 to start this year, 6-1 at Indy, New Orleans, Dallas, Tennessee, at Atlanta, at Cleveland, home against Cincinnati. Those are the first 7 weeks. That is a favorable start to the schedule. Then it gets a little difficult. At Buffalo, Jacksonville, Chargers, at Carolina, at Houston, into your bye. And then you finish out the season with 4 of your final 5 games being divisional foes. You got to eat up those wins when you get them early on. But I love this Ravens team.
My favorite time to do this, plug in the trend of all trends. Lamar Jackson is 25-3 all time versus NFC opponents. He's got the Saints, the Cowboys,
the Falcons,
and I think there's one other
Panthers
in there.
before the bye week, and then the Bucks after the bye week.
So those 5 games, if you're looking for a betting angle, it's very strong. He's 25-3 all time against NFC opponents.
I think the Ravens can get it done this year. I think also Jesse Minter, going to be a good defensive coordinator, was a great defensive coordinator in LA. And Declan Doyle, he's a 29-year-old.
Declan Doyle is going to be awesome.
He is my age, and he's
going to.
I know he's a 29-year-old OC.
What have you been doing with your life?
Honestly, I'm just hosting a show in Richmond, Virginia. Declan Doyle, on the other hand, is a freaking offensive coordinator who's already worked behind Ben Johnson and Sean.
I know,
Payton.
man. Like, what are you doing?
He's going to dial up something gnarly this season. I can feel it.
I will tell you, Lamar is going to be under center just like Jalen or Jaden. Sorry, I get so many J's. But he'll be under center just like him. Like, I think, Declan's ahead of the curve on that. But yeah, expect to see some creative things when you come from Peyton and Ben Johnson's tree. I don't know what to expect.
It's going to be a fun season. So I got the Ravens winning the AFC North. So it's the Ravens in the North, the Broncos in the West, the Jags in the South, and the Patriots in the East. We'll break it down, talk about it more tomorrow when Lake Lewis Jr. joins us in studio, host of the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. You can also listen to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show today from 3 until 4 right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. We're going to roll along. Our 3-a-days continue. Today it is Hermitage, Highland Springs, and Verina for our high school football previews. That's coming up next right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
You're tuned into Fitz the Bill. If you want to talk Braves baseball,
Here comes some late night dynamite here at Truist Park.
there's only one place in town to turn for all the action. 106.1 ESPN, bringing you nonstop Braves action all season long.
High in the air, deep to left field. That's a long gone daddy.
Presented by our friends at Park & Go.
106.1 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they helped me. They calmed me down. They made me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Your trash is treasure at CNC Colored Recycling. From copper wire to radiator ends, cans to lead batteries, CNC Colored Recycling will pay cash or check for your unwanted scrap metal. No load is too large or too small. Don't dump it, recycle it, and get paid at CNC Colored Recycling, just south of Maple Street on Route 1 in Ashland. Free local container service is available too. CNC Colored Recycling, open every weekday and a half day on Saturday. Check the latest cash scrap prices online right now at cccullet.com. That's CCCULLET.
This is advertising material.
When a doctor's mistake leaves you or someone you love seriously hurt, you need a fighter in your corner. Alexander Schnarr Trial Attorneys has been holding negligent doctors and hospitals accountable and getting families the justice they deserve. The consultation is free. They don't get paid until you do. Call 877-222-6666 or visit alexwins.law. Don't wait, alexwins.law.
This is advertising material. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Every case is different. Philip George's licensed attorney in Virginia is responsible for legal work. Office is located in Norfolk.
Hello. This is what's happening with the Metropolitan Business League in August. On August 12th, it's the MBL Petersburg Coffee and Connection, an exclusive networking event for members at Cool Beans Cafe, 10 a.m. to 12 noon at 2 North Sycamore Street. On Sunday, August 16th, join us for a town hall discussion supporting small businesses from 6 to 8 p.m. at the City Point Resource Center, located at 325 Brown Street in Petersburg. Then on Wednesday, August 19th, link up and lace your best sneakers, bling for the MBL Happy Hour celebration at our 1717 East Carey Street rooftop from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. This event is free, but you need to register at thembl.org. In celebration of Black Business Month, the MBL invites you to expand your network and share your business insights.
1061 ESPN from the U.S. Army Recruiting Richmond Traffic Center.
There's been an accident heading south on 95 just before Kings Dominion Boulevard, causing heavy traffic on Carmel Church Road. Also seeing some backup heading northbound between Bells Road and Maury Street. We're seeing some congestion heading west on 64 between Mechanicsville Turnpike and 95. And just beware of a crash on Hermitage Road near Lee Street.
Richmond's morning sports conversation continues. Fitz the Bill. Back now on 1061 ESPN Richmond.
Joined now here on Fitz the Bill, ESPN Richmond, Timothy Jean-Pierre, Hermitage head coach.
Yes, sir.
Coach, how we doing?
I'm good, man. Blessed, man.
Looking at last season, how you guys finished it out, going into the offseason, now getting ready for the 2026. It's already August. Feels like the season's starting.
Yes, sir.
It's right here, right?
Yeah.
What was something that you identified that you guys needed to work on following the playoff loss heading into the offseason?
Well, obviously, you know, the quality of our preparation dictates the quality of our ability to deal with pressure in critical games. So obviously at some point we got to be a little bit better prepared. And, you know, ball security is a big emphasis. You know, a regional championship game, fumbling 3 times. You know, I've had plenty of nightmares about it. So I never want to lose a game like that again. But overall, just preparedness and continue locking on consistency, discipline. I think those are the pillars that's going to help our culture be consistent, especially when it comes to performing in those critical games.
And looking at the season that you guys have ahead of yourself, what are the expectations that you have for Hermitage 2026?
Well, I expect us to be one of the more competitive teams in the area. But the question is, how will we deal with the ebbs and the flows of the game, the ebbs and the flows off the field, you know, right? Because once again, these guys are still young men, right? They still got to make decisions and choices that may affect their ability to be on the field, right? So, you know, just that consistent attention to detail on and off the field. I'm looking to see our guys take that to the next step, and in turn, we should be able to see some great football on the field from that level of accountability, essentially.
Who should we be looking out for this upcoming season? Who's going to make some headlines on the field for you guys?
Well, I think one of the main guys is, you know, Miles Brooks. You know, I think he was kind of overlooked last year. And out of all of the guys that we have, I think he's going to make a huge splash this year. He's probably going to be one of the more complete quarterbacks that I've ever had in my tenure. Great leader, great thinker, great talent as well. So I'm just excited to see him, you know, step into that role, which he's already done in the offseason. And now, so I think Miles Brooks is going to be probably one of the bigger splashes on the team.
I love it. We'll be keeping an eye out for him this upcoming season.
Absolutely.
How many returners do you guys have back?
Oh, man. Returners back, I think I probably have about 7 on offense and maybe 9 on defense, 8 or 9 on defense.
Okay.
There's a couple pieces that we lost, you know, but we was pretty deep last year. We had some guys that played in some critical games, 2 deep guys. So, you know, the way the season goes, sometimes some guys start towards the end of the year, and I guess we could consider him, a returning starter. So, yeah, about 8 or 9 guys on both sides of the ball.
So that's a pretty good number in today's day and age. How does that impact you coming into a season, knowing that you have that much experience, that many starts out there for your team on both sides of the football?
I mean, well, it mainly affects installs, you know, because You don't have to spend as much time on installs because these guys already know what it is that we're trying to get accomplished. So it allows us to get a little more detail oriented in terms of ways to, execute these concepts. But yeah, I think that's the biggest part. Just the experience allows you to move forward culturally with whatever the next steps would be.
And when we end up talking in December, right, and we're previewing a playoff game that you guys have, or a state title game that you guys are going to be in.
Right.
When we look back at 2026 Hermitage, how do you hope we kind of think about this team? I know it's a loaded question in August, but kind of looking at the end of the season, how do you want this team to be remembered, I guess?
Well, obviously that's up to the players, right? Ultimately, those guys. How they want to be remembered is going to be based on what they actually go out and do. So it's going to be my job and our job as a coaching staff to continue to reiterate, that how will you be remembered? If it's my choice, we'll be remembered undefeated, state champions that never got scored on, and all of those hype things, right? But the reality is, it means a little bit more when you get that adversity along the way. So we anticipate whatever that adversity is, but we can continue to prepare daily because that's what we control. So hopefully we'll be remembered as a team that was disciplined, smart, tough, extremely physical, and with high character. Because at the end of the day, that's the stuff that goes with you off the field in life.
Awesome, Coach. Appreciate your time. Great way to finish things off. Have fun with the rest of the 804 Media Day.
Yeah, man. I don't know who else we got to talk to, but we're here.
Rolling along here, 804 High School Football Media Days. Highland Springs now joining us. Jalen Johnson, edge for Highland Springs. Jonathan Carter, running back, and Coach Johnson as well. Jalen, how you doing? How are things feeling here at 804 High School Football Media Days? You get set for the year.
I'm doing good. How you doing, sir?
Hey, we're doing fantastic. How's the defense coming along for Highland Springs?
Defense is always going to be good at Highland Springs, and it's going very good right now.
And for you, Jonathan, running back, the offensive side of the ball, how's the offense coming for Highland Springs?
Doing good. Just working on little things, fixing up the little things, and getting ready to play in 3 weeks.
How are preparations coming from a player's perspective?
Working every day, working extremely hard, going play after play, doing plays over and over and over again just to make sure they're right.
Coach, how are preparations coming from a coaching perspective with the game in about 3 weeks?
You know what? The way the VHSL is giving us the opportunity to work on things beforehand, out-of-season practice rules, it makes it a little bit easier. With 7-on-7, of course, the passing game accelerates and moves a lot faster than it did in the past, maybe. And when everybody's running 21 personnel and two, fullback and a tailback and 2 wide receivers, so you don't have to worry about that. But we've had the opportunity to kind of work on some things, do some walkthrough things, which have helped us out a tremendous amount, right, and kind of put things in perspective so at least they understand terminology or they can refresh their memory on some of the terminology when guys are returning. So it's moved pretty well. Again, John said over and over and over again, I was always taught that constant review is a student's glue, right? That's the only way to do it. Like if you constantly review what you're doing, it'll stick somewhere in between, and hopefully that's in 3 weeks.
And looking back at how last season ended with a state title loss, how quickly did you guys flip that page and turn it to 2026?
Well, I think a lot of things happened before then. Some personal things happened for Coach Johnson, but I think for a football program overall, we always turn the page really, really fast, whether you win it or you lose it. Like, we've won it and got on the bus and start talking about the depth chart and how we're going to respond, and then we've lost it and got on the bus and start talking about the depth chart. So we flip it fast. It's a ball game, and when you win it, congratulations. And when you lose it, sometimes people say congratulations, but more than anything, you want to find the ways to improve and get yourself better. So that's what we did this time around, looking at all of the little things that cost us in games versus quality opponents who all went on to win a state championship, and the team standing over my shoulder who lost to a team that won a state championship. You put things in perspective. So we didn't play any slouches, and when you don't, you got to be on your A game every single week, every single day, every time you step in between the white lines.
Jalen, how have you seen the defense develop this offseason?
Our defense developed really good. So we go in the weight room every day, getting bigger, stronger, faster, and we got 2 linebackers that's young, but they developing fast. So I feel like our defense is going very good.
And Jonathan, how have you seen the offense develop this offseason with you guys?
I would just say, like, before practice or even after practice, people, like, will go out, throw the ball, run routes, go over plays, and just like Jalen said, we're putting up some big numbers in the weight room this year.
Coach, what are some of the numbers they're putting up in the weight room?
Well, to be absolutely honest with you, I don't have everything in front of me, but I know that the little guy next to me, right? Everybody calls him little. He's a 400-pound squatter, which is pretty impressive, for a guy his size in high school, which means he'll run the ball and run the ball well. Jalen has put, 500 pounds on his back in terms of squatting. So we're excited about that. We call the bench a lazy man's lift, but they've been putting up good bench numbers as well, and they've been power clean and doing extremely well. So this year, man, I think we have two 300-pound power cleaners, all right, and we're excited about that. That's a big number for a high school kid. Most guys are 225, 230, but we got 300-pounders, which we're excited about.
Coach, that's a big number for non-high school kids.
It is.
I used to saying those numbers. Yeah. I can't even sniff that.
I've talked to my boys in school, and they, guys that play the same position as the guys that did those lifts are not doing that in college. So that it says a little bit about the explosiveness of those guys. But again, it's got to translate. We now got to see it work on the field a lot more, and those guys have put those numbers in. We'll see how it relates for them.
And you guys got a pretty impressive schedule you put together for the 26th season. What was the process of getting some tests like that on your schedule?
Well, I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. At this point in time, man, in my career, I don't even care anymore. Like, if the game is available and people agree to the game, like, we got to get the game done. I heard Coach Lewis say it from the team down the street a little earlier today. Like, it's hard to find games against quality opponents or people that want to play you. My AD told me this morning that one of the teams that we were playing has dropped us, right? So we're down to 9 games. So we got to figure it out, right? And you just got to find a way to play games and play who you play. You know what I mean? And then go out and put your best foot forward and get it done. So I allow Harry Lee Daniel to kind of work on that. We do communicate about it. We do talk about it. He asked my opinion about some of the games. But at this point in time, you have some teams that don't want to play and some teams that do want to play, and that becomes a tough deal.
And for success for you guys, how do you define it for this 2016?
Yeah, I mean, that's relative, to be absolutely honest with you, man. When you're talking about the development of young men, I want to see them go to college, be enrolled, or have a job, right? So that's one portion of it. When you talk about football, I mean, you want to go 1-0 each week. You want to be playing in the last 5 games of the year, right? The last 5 is, the first round of the playoffs, second round of the playoffs, regional championship, semifinals. Then to give yourself an opportunity to win a state championship in the end. So that really, really puts things in perspective. But I think, I'm looking at small milestones now as I get into my career. I'm not looking at the big picture as much as I did a couple years ago, or even when I got started. I mean, let's get the snap, right? Let's hand it off clean. Let's run the right route at the right depth. I'm looking at smaller milestones, right? The guys, like, I've really learned at this point in my career how to get guys the football and then how to position guys on defense to make the right plays, right? So not just throwing guys out there because the scheme says do it, or because they do it on Saturday, or because they do it on Sunday. Like, finding out what really works for your program and for your team, so everybody can be engaged and everybody has an opportunity to play at a high level.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for your time. Good luck this season. I look forward to seeing what a Highland Springs does.
Thank you very much, man.
With Verona head coach Marcus Lewis here on ESPN Richmond. Coach, you've gone through a couple of the questions so far, but I got to ask all the questions that probably have been asked. You guys got a pretty nice schedule. How'd it come together?
Some of the games we already had. Of course, we lost IC Norcom. We trying to find a game. I had a school from South Carolina reach out to me, but we had, I think we had King George. They ended up dropping us. Reached out to Arthur Smith a while back because I was trying to get them on the next 2-year cycle anyway. Kept going back and forth, man. We eventually made it work. So that's kind of how it came about. Of course, we got the team Grimsley from North Carolina from last year. So now we're about to re-up on some of these this cycle now. So we try to keep our schedule like it is to make sure we're prepared.
It's a pretty nice schedule that will test you guys week in, week out, especially early on in that schedule. What are you looking to learn about your team in those first, month and a half of the season where you got some big-time matchups?
Can we be mentally tough when it counts? Can we close out the big games to get ready for the playoffs? And this are we conditioned? You know what I mean? Like you said, we starting off with a tough schedule, which is great for our boys. My biggest concern or biggest thing out of it, just staying healthy at the end of the day. You got to be healthy when it matters the most. Even the first couple of games last year, we weren't healthy. So a lot of kids didn't play in some of these games. But right now we're healthy, praying that we continue to stay healthy. But that's how the schedule came about.
And how do you go into a season now with state champion next to your name? You got a little bit of a target on your back, and you're going to get everyone's best shot. How do you kind of prepare mentally for that new challenge?
Honestly, I felt like it's always been like that. I mean, I come from an era of Verona where I only lost 4 games in 4 years, so never no championships, but the standards have always been the standard. We win ball games. Now we've been able to finish. So I don't think it changed much. I just think our schedule changed. But outside of that, man, we will always be a target when you're consistently winning ball games. But now we're able to finish, so now we got a bigger target. But we say this every day, man. It's not about nobody else. It's about us. It's us versus us. And if we can take care of that and we can, challenge ourselves, be mentally prepared, mentally tough, we're going to be fine.
Coach, any players we should be looking out for this season? I know you brought Caleb and Saw, but any others that we should be kind of looking out for this upcoming season?
Ooh, all right. You say Caleb and Saw. I'm probably going to miss some, man. I feel like we got a special group. Some names people ain't going to know. Some names that we already knew their time is about to be shining now. But to name some, you got Ivan Thompson. I'm going to start with the O-line, too. Perk was the center who's been Caleb's center since the rec ball. You got Arnold King. Our D-line, we got a lot of returning from the D-line. We lost 2 big keys, but we got all our DNs back. Kaysen, you got Desmond. You got RJ who will be moving around. DB core. I mean, we got some guys. I ain't gonna say a lot of you, man. So looking forward to it. Special time right now. Football back here, and then we just taking one day at a time.
And last question here before we let you go. You guys have kind of been like a UVA pipeline here over the last couple of years. What's that relationship like you've built up with Tony Elliott? How's that kind of progressed over the last, year or two?
Honestly, man, it's been a journey. But they tell you how they recruit. They tell you, it's gonna take some time with them. They're very transparent with our kids. Like I tell any coach that come in our program, man, just be transparent with us, transparent with our kids, because I'm gonna be honest with them. I ain't sugarcoating nothing. I ain't sugarcoating nothing to the parents. So if you be upfront and honest with our kids through this journey, you got a great chance to build a relationship to where our kids want to go, and that's what they have done. Even with Sayer, they met with him. They was watching him. I say, Sayer, just keep putting the work in. And then when they really sat down and really evaluated him, and they was like, Coach, I said, I told you we got one. And right now, I've been around most of these coaches now, so I know what they're looking for, and I know our kids. So we have somebody that fits the mold for a certain school. I'm gonna definitely do my best to make sure I get on the phone to bridge that relationship.
Awesome, Coach. Appreciate your time. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
ESPN Richmond rolling right along with Verina. We got Caleb White, Sayer Rex, 2 standouts for this upcoming season for the Blue Devils. How you guys doing? How's that 804 Media Day treating you, Caleb, if you want to kick us off?
It's going good. Doing good.
So coming into the season, you guys got a little bit of a target on your back. I mean, you have the state champion next to your name. Caleb, how have you guys gone about preparing for a season with that state champion next to your name?
Working hard every day at summer workouts, getting the transfers on the same page that we on, knowing that we going to our senior year, last year together, making sure we all on the same page so we don't mess nothing up.
Coach was highlighting you in one of the conversations that you guys had about your work ethic and how you've put in the work. How have you seen your game progressed, and what do you want to see out of this last season with Verina?
I definitely seen my game progress, just knowing that the work I put in, I'm going to get good results. And for this last season, I really just want to win. I put away kind of personal goals just for the team. I'm trying to go undefeated, whatever it take, offense, defense, all of that. So just being able to do this last ride with my guys, I know this is probably some of the last time I'm going to play with some of them. So I just want to go out with a bang.
Caleb, you guys got a nice little schedule you've put together, some big names on there. There's also some revenge on the mind after the Maury game last year. Do you guys go into a season that has some big names on the schedule, maybe feeling a little bit more juiced up for the year?
Nah, not really. We're just going to look at it as a regular game. We're going to play how we play regardless.
And you said going undefeated this year, one of the goals you have for the team. What are some of the goals you have for yourself? Do you have any interception numbers that you've got in your mind, anything like that?
Me, I ain't really like I had some goals, but I know if I play good, well, I don't know if it's, as a team we play good, that's gonna satisfy me. So I kind of like goals. I do want to do better than I did last season. I know that's gonna come with the work that I put in as well. I want to be able to change the game more as well too, but I got more team goals than I got personal goals. I just want to go back to back with my brothers and win all the games.
I love it, guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of 804 Media Day. Appreciate your time.
This morning.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Leon was about to leave the military.
My biggest concern was, what am I going to do next?
He found out about My Computer Career and their military transition program.
The Cyber Warrior program takes you from not knowing anything about a computer at all to being a subject matter expert.
How long is that going to take?
In the span of 4 months, I was able to get 4 different certifications.
4 months? Leon's advice?
Highly recommended.
Become a certified cyber warrior in just months at mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary. VA education benefits available to those who qualify.
1061 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-498-6548. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-498-6548. That's 800-498-6548. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
1061 ESPN weather.
We have another hot and muggy summer day ahead of us, with highs reaching 91 degrees this afternoon. Mostly sunny skies in the morning, followed by some afternoon thunderstorms going into the evening. And lows tonight will be dropping down to 71.
Voices, local takes, Richmond's only local morning sports talk show. Fitz the Bill, back on 1061 ESPN Richmond. News or snooze?
News or snooze for the final segment. Bucks Vita Vea agreed to 1-year extension deal to end hold in.
Newsworthy. Mainly, Alan, because this helps my take of them winning the NFC South.
Mainly because, did I see $30 million?
So he's $24 million this year, plus another $24 million next season. $24 million per year ties him with Derek Brown of the Panthers for 11th among interior defensive tackles.
That initial report, I guess, was wrong. $24 million is fine.
But I guess $24 million plus 18. And I guess they fudged the numbers a little bit. It added $24 million next year and then added $6 million this year. So that's where they got the $30 million extension. But then it's worked out a little bit. Fully guaranteed. $48 million assured to Vita Vea over the next 2 seasons. This is after he requested a trade, but Tampa worked it out. They got him back. He's the NFL's active sack leader among nose tackles since 2019.
Until Aaron Donald comes back.
Hey, you're right.
Well, even though he won't play nose, but yeah.
I love how it's like among nose tackles. All right. So we're just like, so he lines up a foot to the right or the left or where.
Positionally, it is different.
It's very different, but it's just like, all right. I mean, we're really differentiating them. So newsworthy indeed for the Bucks, because that defense, it really needs that anchor right there in the middle in Vita Vea. They've lost a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball down there in Tampa Bay. Todd Bowles is going to have his hands full. I know we've got a couple of Tampa fans that tune in that have asked us to work our magic on Todd Bowles. We haven't pulled out our magic wands just yet on him. We've got to see how the first couple of weeks go.
Yeah, I'm not going to call for him to be fired just yet. We'll give it some time. Give me about week 2.
But Sean McDermott, we did. Mike Tomlin, we did. I feel like there was another coach we got fired too, but maybe it's Todd Bowles next. What's next?
Rory McIlroy questions value of live players to PGA.
Newsworthy. So he was asked point blank about live stars potentially returning to the PGA Tour. Rory McIlroy said, quote, I would argue, have they brought value to live? I think the PGA Tour is in a really good spot. I love Rory's hatred of live. It is one of my favorite things in sport. And without his backing, live golfers will, of course, come back to the PGA Tour eventually. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But not having the support of arguably the biggest star in golf right now among active players, because Tiger is still, of course, the biggest star in golf, but not having the support of Rory McIlroy is going to kind of draw out this process, I believe. And not having the support, I think, will hurt live golfers in the long run. I do love his hatred.
Yeah, and we've got a sound for that.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you?
Back to me.
To me.
That is the PGA right now. They are Thanos. For the ones who are like, where'd that clip come from? That's right. Back to me.
Balanced.
Everything balanced, just as it should be. Yeah, they just waited it out.
Scheffler, though, did take the opposite stance, saying some of Liv's top players. Scotty's sitting there. I mean, why do any of us play golf?
Scotty always taking the easiest way out unless it's golf itself.
Yeah, he makes it the hard. He's like, life easy, golf game. I'm never going to hit a fairway. I'm going to be playing with the most unorthodox feet. And
Could
I'm
you
gonna go from
imagine?
there.
They're sitting out talking about, this is our message. This is what we're going to say. Everybody's like, yeah, you ready? Roy goes out first, does his thing. Everybody's like, yes. Scotty comes up. Well, actually.
Yeah, Roy goes out and they're like, whoa, Roy, that was actually a little harsher than we thought, but good job, man.
Yeah.
Scotty, what do you have? I think we all should be friends.
Yeah, like, why can't we get along?
Why can't we be friends? Starts busting out in the press conference. Everyone joins hands.
What he said they bring value.
He just essentially said that he thinks they're good for the sport. They would bring real value back to the PGA Tour, though he would want penalties attached to them if they did return.
Scotty's heard my take on him having the easy route. He wants to make sure he can solidify that legacy.
Sandage, wherever he is, I've got to let him know I can beat a washed John Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, and the
Bring
rest.
them on.
Bring them out. Bring them out.
Multiple NFL signees granted 5th year of eligibility.
Newsworthy. And not only that, something with a TRO, a temporary restraining order somewhere, I think in the state of Louisiana, now allows all of the players who maybe didn't enter the transfer portal at the end of the season because they thought their eligibility was exhausted, now can enter the transfer portal. So this hits close to home. Trent Hendrick, a JMU linebacker, he was granted, quote unquote, the 5th year. They're still waiting to see how that fully plays out based off of an NCAA appeal that is most likely coming. He was kind of waiting it out. And then it was expected he would be back at JMU to play out his 5th year if he so chose. Now he might be able to enter the transfer. He will enter the transfer portal. He has entered the transfer portal, and he will likely play elsewhere. So 3 former Ole Miss starters, Daquan Wright, Xavier Harris, and Wydett Williams, all signed with NFL teams this summer and are now part of a group that won a temporary restraining order to return to college for one more season. A Seattle Seahawks running back who took snaps in preseason in week 1. He has left the team. He has entered the transfer portal. And so it is super interesting. And it's going to play out in maybe the weirdest thing in the world.
So they've been at NFL facilities amongst NFL coaches and things like that. Yeah, no.
And they can go back.
You know, I think this is where I'm willing to draw the line here.
I think it's something we talked about with the Sorsby case of it all, right? At a certain point, a level of responsibility needs to be thrown to the student athlete.
Yeah, man.
Like you're done.
Yeah.
Leave. You know how badly I would have loved to have gone back to college for my 5th year and just not entered the workforce.
Especially if I had a chance to get a taste of what was to come. And then I get this knowledge of what to do to get better. on the professional level, and then I go back to college for a year.
And then
I don't think it should work that way, honestly.
A level of responsibility needs to be put on these players.
Yeah.
We should demonize the players that decide to go back to college after spending time in an NFL training camp. They should be demonized. They should be made fun of. There's this website. I don't know if you've heard about it. LinkedIn.com. it has so many jobs there. They can, if they fail to make a 53-man roster, just go there. Just LinkedIn.com. You can make a free account. You see thousands of jobs, hundreds of thousands of jobs, millions of jobs. Go find one.
Somehow I'm going to blame this on Will Wade and Lane Kiffin. I know they're behind it.
Hey, if you want, man, all you. I mean, Louisiana is the state that kind of opened this back up with the TRO from yesterday.
I know, man. It's ridiculous.
And also, Ole Miss probably goes back to Lane Kiffin, too.
Always.
All roads lead back to Lane. All right, Bennett Conlon from JMU Sports News joining us on the other side. Stay with us.
Looking for a great spot to stop by for great food and cold beverages? Make Shepherd Street Tavern your new go-to destination. Frosty craft beers on tap and tavern-style menu specialties such as specialty deviled eggs, barbecued tofu bites, and our signature Devil's Triangle hot chicken sandwich. Now under new management with the same laid-back vibe indoors or outside on the patio. Shepherd Street Tavern is located at 2922 Park Avenue in the Museum District. Check shepherdstreettrva.com for the latest specials and happy hour prices.
1061 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay, are you suffering from diarrhea, bloating, gas, or oily stools? If so, you may want to ask your doctor if it could actually be a problem with your pancreas, called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
My pancreas? How is EPI treated?
A prescription medicine like Creon, pancrelipase, is used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes. Creon is the #1 prescribed treatment for EPI.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor, and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
Join us on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond for the Bottom Line Sports Talk radio show with me, Steve the Truth, featuring Harry Clary and the entertainer that is Rick Morris. Sports Talk at its best.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 106.1 ESPN. You're listening to the second hour of Fitz the Bill on 106.1 ESPN.
Welcome in. Hour number 2 of Fitz the Bill on this Thursday morning. Appreciate you clocking in, making us part of your day. ESPNRichmond.com, ESPN Richmond app as well. We're also streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Before we get going here in the second hour, I want to remind you guys that you need to mark your calendars for Saturday from 12 until 2. We'll be out at Christian Brothers Automotive down in Brandermill on Temmie Lee Parkway. Dave and Lisa, the new owners of that Christian Brothers Automotive down there in Brandermill. They are throwing a massive grand opening party. It's going to be a ton of fun. I've heard through the grapevine there's going to be a bounce house. There'll be some little things to nibble on. I'll be out there hanging out from 10 until noon. K95.3 will then be out there from noon to 2. We'll be having the music. We'll be having a good time. Swing on by, say hi, meet Dave and Lisa. Maybe find your new auto shop as well down there, Christian Brothers Automotive in Brandermill. Their grand opening party is this Saturday from 10 until 2. We'll see you out there. 804-327-0888. Radkey Insurance phone line is open at radkeyinsurance.com to get started on your free quote today. Coming into this college football season, who do you think is going to be the best school from the Commonwealth? And that's a bit of a loaded question because everyone knows it's JMU, right? I mean, maybe. They didn't make the college football playoff a year ago, but we talked with David Cunningham yesterday from Tech Sideline about what Virginia Tech has done this offseason. We all know what James Franklin said, right? James Franklin said it at ACC kickoff. They've won the offseason. And he's not entirely wrong, right? Virginia Tech has brought in the new AD. They have seemingly completely flipped around that culture in one offseason. Franklin has brought this big boy mentality that's been missing from Virginia Tech for the last, is it crazy to say the last 20 years? It feels like they've been missing that big boy mentality that they used to have in the glory days of Frank Beamer.
Has it been 20 years since Frank?
Well, it hasn't been 20 years since Frank left.
Yeah, I was about to be like, man, I'm
the
really
last
old.
couple years, the last bit of Frank Beamer wasn't all that great.
No,
it wasn't the glory days of Frank Beamer.
I wholeheartedly agree, but I still have some respect for the program.
Yeah, I guess that's true. They were still because Frank Beamer was their coach, they'd go into every year with a ranking.
Yeah.
And then they'd quickly lose that
They
ranking.
were respected a little
and then never saw that ranking again. But it feels like for the first time in quite some time, there is actual preseason national expectations around Virginia Tech. Then you've got Charlottesville with UVA and Tony Elliott, right? They just were a couple plays away from winning the ACC. Their best year under Tony Elliott, their best year in a whole long time happened in 2025. And what did they do? They nearly lost everyone because they were so senior heavy. They were so transfer heavy that a ton of those guys left. And what did they do this offseason? Well, one thing, they went down to Verina. They poached a couple of the guys down there from Verina. But then they also went out and they attacked the portal again. Tony Elliott has a vision. Tony Elliott knows how he wants to build this team. And it's a little bit different than maybe how other teams are built. James Franklin has said that he's going to focus in on recruiting, and that has been true in terms of their recruiting rankings. Now, they did mess out on the LC Bird Whitehead brothers with Chris and Isaiah, but who knows? A flip might always be coming there. I imagine Virginia Tech is still really attacking those two guys hard because they are two of the best in the state of Virginia. But Virginia Tech has focused in on high school recruiting. UVA has focused in on transfer portal recruiting. And UVA has some of the most seniors, redshirt seniors, or graduate players on their roster with over 50. So you've got those two teams in the ACC. Then, oh, by the way, there's JMU over here who just made the college football playoff, lost Chesney, lost a huge chunk of their roster, brought in Billy Napier, brought in a ton of transfers. So of those three, good luck trying to figure out, Alan, who's going to be the best team in the state of Virginia this year. Oh, by the way, you also got ODU and Liberty.
Yeah, I think I want to say UVA's front and center just because they got a lot of experience and I think a lot of momentum. I also think the stability of Elliott having been there longer and the consistency of his coaching staff and his program should give him the edge, right? Because, I mean, as much as we like to say that NIL and everything makes it easier, dude, starting over is always going to have its hurdles.
Yeah, I mean, look at, and I always bring it back to JMU, right? But like you saw what Kurt Cignetti did in 2023. They were one of the best G6 teams in the nation. He leaves, huge roster turnover. Chesney comes in year one. They go 4-4 in Sun Belt play, and it's a bit of a disappointing year.
Yeah.
Year two, they have continuity. What do? College football playoff. Chesney leaves, goes to the West Coast, has a huge amount of roster turnover. We don't know how Napier year one's going to turn out, but based off of the track record, it's probably going to be a little bit of a bumpy road here in year one.
Yeah, and I expect Coach Napier to continue to elevate the program that is JMU football. If not this year, definitely next year. Like I think he's done a good enough job at previous stints in the Sun Belt where he should have some respect. I know a a lot of people like to look back and be like, well, you didn't do that at Florida. And I know Florida fans have their say.
Also, the SEC is different from the SBC.
There's levels to coaching, man, similar to Scott Frost and his tenure in Nebraska.
Luke Fickell.
Yeah, Luke Fickell.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, yeah. There's levels. So it's perfectly fine for him to take essentially what is a step back. But I will say, I think next year's conversation is going to be far more interesting of a debate than what we should have this year. I feel like UVA should have it locked in this year just because they have the consistency there.
I think UVA is the favorite right now. I think JMU right behind them, and then I think it's Virginia Tech, because I think Virginia Tech under Franklin needs to prove that they've put it all together in order to be in the conversation with the, and this is going to be crazy to say, but like the big boys, right? Like they used to be the flagship program of the Commonwealth. That's what they like to hitch their wagon to. I don't think they are that anymore. I think it is between JMU and UVA in terms of being the flagship program. But one good year for James Franklin can catapult them into it. And this might be worthy of taking my JMU alumni card away here. But if Virginia Tech goes out and gets to a bowl and they show promising signs of moving forward and they look like they have put it together and Franklin is doing things the right way and the momentum is building, right? Next year, they will far and away be the flagship program of Virginia. They got to put it together this year, but if they put it together this year, they will quickly reclaim their spot among the top of the top.
Well, I wouldn't even say to take your JMU card. Let's be honest.
I'm just saying it how it is.
If James Franklin can bring his recruiting prowess from Penn State to Virginia Tech,
good luck,
GG's. Edge Virginia Tech, right?
GG's, yeah.
One thing he could get up there in Penn State was talent, and it wasn't always just because of the brand Penn State. Like people wanted to play for James Franklin. You interviewed a young man who talked about
Hawkins, their starting running back.
He wanted to play for James Franklin. Him and his dad used to talk about it, and he was like, "Man, it'd be cool to play for James Franklin." Yeah. So him having that kind of brand as a coach already gives him a slight edge. He's got to show just a little bit of success at Virginia Tech. And a bowl game would be massive, honestly.
And the way their schedule plays out, they could be bowl eligible before their bye week. And that's going to do massive stuff for Virginia Tech.
If he can win at least 7 games, obviously that makes him bowl eligible. If he can win 7 games, he doesn't even have to win the bowl game.
No, he doesn't.
Just have a record better than 500.
Go to the Duke's Mayo Bowl and have fun.
Seriously.
Yes.
Go to something that, honestly, if you're a coach like James Franklin, you would probably want to do Duke's Mayo or the Pop-Tart Bowl if you're not going to be in the playoffs, because that's a lot of exposure.
Yes, 100%. Those are the People's Championships. Someone dubbed the Pop-Tarts Bowl the People's National Championship.
I mean, it pretty much is. So
100% is.
So I'm looking at it like, if you're UVA and JMU, if you're truly in the competition for the best team in the state, get it while you can, which is right now. Because if James Franklin can get his foot established, it's going to be a problem. Because, like I said, he's already got the bigger brand as a head coach than everybody else.
It's going to be fascinating to see. All right, let's get a quick break and step aside. It's then time for Sidetracked. Kai Laird, he is the owner. He runs T-Box Richmond. We caught up with him. He has taken a lot of different paths to get here to Richmond to open up T-Box. It is a state-of-the-art golf simulator place, really a golf community, golf gym. But we talk way more than just about golf and what is happening at T-Box. Talk about his life. He's a sports psychologist. He has a very interesting story. So we caught up with Kai Laird coming up on Sidetracked. As a reminder, if you ever miss a show of Sidetracked, it is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just type in Sidetracked, ESPN Richmond, Fits the Bill, whatever it is. It'll pop up. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple and Spotify. And all of the video versions of the podcast are live up over on the Fits the Bill YouTube. Type in Fits the Bill, ESPN RVA, ESPN Richmond. It'll pop up. You can watch each and every episode of Sidetracked. You can also see some behind-the-scenes footage, some fun little outtakes, things like that, over on our Instagram, Fits the Bill, ESPN RVA. So we'll get a quick break in, step aside. We'll be back with this week's episode of Sidetracked with Kai Laird from T-Box.
It's the Bill on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Back in just a moment.
When your sink suddenly springs a leak, or the tub stops draining, or the toilet stops flushing, it's surprising. You know, it shouldn't be surprising. The price you pay to fix it. That's why Robinson's Plumbing Service promises no surprise pricing. What they quote you is what you pay. With thoroughly background check technicians, Robinson's Plumbing Service is here when you need them, with no surprises. And they guarantee all labor and materials supplied by them for 2 years. Now hiring experienced service technicians. Robinson'sPlumbingService.com.
Hop in a John Deere Gator XUV for a day's work. Let's see what's on the to-do list. There goes the tree. And the fence. Not a problem. Because you've got a cargo box filled with solutions. Up to 4,000 pounds of towing capacity. And you're ready to roll. Here we go again. The Gator XUV. Built for every kind of workday. Learn more at johndeere.com/Gator XUV. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Falling behind on your water bill can happen to anyone, but ignoring it can make things harder. If your City of Richmond Department of Public Utilities account is past due, a flow restrictor may be installed. That means reduced water flow in your home. The sooner you act, the sooner things go back to normal. Make a payment or set up a payment plan today. Financial assistance may also be available. We're here to help you stay on track. Visit rva.gov/public-utility/news or call 804-646-4646.
Here's the thing about appliances. You probably don't want advice from someone who spends most of their time in the paint department, like at some other stores. At East Coast Appliance, appliances are all we do. No lawn chairs, no lumber department, just well-trained appliance experts who really care about helping you find exactly what you need for your home. And in many cases, we offer same-day, next-day delivery and installation. Shop for your next appliance today at East Coast Appliance, where you always get the best price or it's free. As you know, at East Coast Appliance, we take pricing pretty seriously. In fact, we have digital price tags that update in real time. They use AI technology to scan our competitors' prices on the exact models to make sure you're always getting the lowest price when you shop with us, because going the extra mile to make sure our customers get the best deal is what East Coast Appliance has always been about. Shop your local East Coast Appliance Superstore today, where we make sure you always get the best price or it's free.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Leon was about to leave the military.
My biggest concern was, what am I going to do next?
He found out about My Computer Career and their military transition program.
The Cyber Warrior program takes you from not knowing anything about a computer at all to being a subject matter expert.
How long is that going to take?
In the span of 4 months, I was able to get 4 different certifications.
4 months? Leon's advice?
Highly recommended.
Become a certified cyber warrior in just months at mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary. VA education benefits available to those who qualify.
Richmond's Morning Sports Talk. Live, local, and back on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. It's The Bill. Powered by Ironclad Coffee and Baking Company.
Welcome in 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Fitz the Bill sidetrack. We're joined now, Kai Laird, owner T-Box, right? The T-Box in Richmond over at Regency. You guys have, when we're recording this, we're 1 day away from your 2-month anniversary.
Yeah.
So happy early anniversary on that. How's it been through the first 2 months?
Yeah, it's been good. It's surprising that it's been coming up 8 weeks already, but it's been a really great journey so far. Of course, like the beginning part is always probably the most hectic, like getting ready for soft opening, making sure everything is working and operating pretty smoothly. And then once you actually open, then we had about 36 members who already signed up that now you're bringing into the doors, making sure the experience is going really well, getting them affiliated with all the equipment and everything we got, because we got a lot of technology in our space. And then, of course, again, the next step then is grand opening, which was 30 days ago. And now this past 30 days been a lot more smoother, because now you got people who've been in it. Everybody, we figured out all the kinks. Everything's moving a lot smoother. And now it's then looking at trying to start to kind of scale and grow our community at T-Box.
I love it. I got to see the sneak peek of it when you were still in the production phase, the building phase, and seeing all the pictures that have been coming out of it. You guys have been a content machine too on your Instagram too. So seeing it kind of grow from that perspective, it's been really awesome. How do we get here? Because I detect an accent, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we end up in Richmond deciding to open up a T-Box?
Yeah, it's pretty long, but maybe genuine, interesting journey for some. So long story short, the accent's from Trinidad and Tobago. So for many people who aren't familiar, because I know a lot of people on geography, A+ on it. I don't blame them. Like, Trinidad's such a small country. It's 1.6 million people, actually, Trinidad and Tobago, located right above South America, starting the Caribbean chain. Came to the US probably about 18 years ago. Originally what I thought was just coming for my undergrad education, and turned into a double master's, to then starting a sports psychology business 11 years ago, which was my first entrepreneurial journey. And then moving out to Virginia about 9 years, but about 10 years ago, with following my wife, who had got a job out here. And ever since then, we kind of started in Newport News, worked up to Yorktown, and then we're in Williamsburg for quite some time, 8 years. And my background's in mental health, sports psychology. So done a lot of different, gone to teaching. And I think probably like last January of 25, I'd, as everybody do, New Year's comes around and you start to think about, like what's life going to look like? What are you going to do? Maybe do differently this year. And I felt I started to reach a point where entrepreneurship was something I'd realized I had a big passion for. I had 2 startups by then. It was those things that I felt like I was probably most creative and enjoyed the most, even though you felt like once you become an entrepreneur, your brain's just always going 24/7, because you're always just thinking about, what to do and how to grow it, and any problems you're managing. But long story short, so I was kind of thinking like what I'm going to do, been in the professional field for about just over 10 years. And I'd got this magazine in the mail. I didn't order it or anything. It just like came with all
one of
the
those
regular,
like mailers.
mailers.
Yeah.
It's called the Entrepreneur 500, which I don't know if many people aren't familiar. I wasn't familiar. It's a magazine or a company that ranks the top 500 franchises in the country at that time, and they redo the reviews every year in terms of where people rank.
Cool. Yeah.
And so like all mailers, they just kind of sat on my countertop for about a couple of weeks, and then randomly, I remember it was like a Saturday morning, and just started going through the mail. I saw this magazine and kind of flipped through it, and I was like, oh, it's pretty interesting. Next thing you know, I'm sitting on there, hours have passed by, and I'm like thinking, oh, you know what? I don't know why I never thought about maybe exploring a franchise, knowing that, I've started other businesses from scratch, but, I've always been a really strong operator. Maybe if I found a business model that is proven, shown to do really well, that I aligned with, maybe that could be something really good. And it's passive, so I could still have my full-time job, but to, keep lights going, food on the table while I have something building. And I just went down that rabbit hole of like, just, you start researching some of these franchises. Next thing you know, you click on a few links, people start calling you, because it's like what you didn't even know about. It's called like franchise brokers, where brokers who are aligned with different franchisees will come and call you and be like, hey, let me understand more of your background. Let me see if I could find the right fit for you, because then they get paid by whichever franchise you commit to. Next thing you know, I'm talking to a couple of brokers. They're pitching me a ton of businesses. I'm meeting these businesses and just kind of feeling out, learning a lot more about the franchise model. And one day, I've been doing this process now about 6-8 weeks. Haven't really found a business that really speaks to me. And when the broker sends like a mass email, it wasn't even for me, just everybody in his mailing list. And you see the title, which is like golf training facility, gym in simulator. And I've never, I'm a person who's been getting into golf, but I've never was in a simulator before. But I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. But my background in athlete development, sports psychology, I was like, oh, maybe it's kind of interesting. Let me do what's called like their discovery process, where you do the initial meeting their team. And for T-Box, it's pretty simple because they're, you know, relatively new franchise. It was like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday meeting, all in 1 week. You kind of hit and meet all the top people. And then the next step, if you're really interested, is to go out to their headquarters in Salt Lake City. And then you kind of, you know, they see if they award you a franchise. So I did the meetings. This whole time, my wife's doing a good job of just entertaining me. She's like, oh, yeah, well, you know, like, I always get these ideas. And she's like, you know, like she just
have fun in Utah.
She's like, run with it, you know, whatever. And then as soon as she heard, like, you know, Salt Lake City, she's like, oh man, I haven't been there before.
Can I
I mean, that would be like a really good vacation. At this point, she's still just kind of entertaining me, like, we're not gonna do this. Like, we're just gonna have some fun, da da da. And so we went out, and like I said, a pretty new franchise. So when we went out for their confirmation day, it actually was only just my wife and I. Like, they didn't have anybody else who made it for that trip. So we got like a really good opportunity to meet with T-Box's whole executive C-suite team, spend the whole day with them. You know, they put us up in a hotel. We went and saw a Utah Jazz game first night because they have like a box in there. And then we went and saw a hockey game the next day. And had a real good time. Got a chance to really connect and learn more about the business. And by the end of like the meetings, well, the C-suite, I remember they stepped out and my wife kind of like turned to me and she's like, we got to do this. And
so they got her.
Yeah. Well, they had to. That's the only way that was going to work. You know, like they kind of got me already, but when they got her, it was even more conviction of like, yeah, this is kind of cool, you know? And so why T-Box, to answer your question, you know, through that whole long story is that, it was a business that you know, I have a lot of familiarity with in terms of athlete development. But then I realized even what they were developing was something that I would be a huge consumer for. Like I really believed in the product, which I think is important when you're trying to sell something. Anything you want to sell, you got to believe in it. And what they have in terms of a performance model for getting any golfer better, where it's 24/7, you pretty much get everything you need to become a better golfer in one space. You access it anytime you want. And on top of that, you have a coach, golf pro, who's the only manager, and he's there to be able to help you. So instead of feeling like I got to go this place for lessons, I got to go this place to train, I got to spend this much money to get clubs. I mean, we do everything. We do the free assessments. We do the free club fittings. We have a box pro who's going to give you a dedicated training plan, leagues and tournaments included. And so the best thing is really about trying to get people opportunities to build on a pathway to get better in golf, where it's a lot of technology, a lot of data. So it's going to help you do that without you feeling like I got to spend a ton more money, kind of going to all these different places and trying to then put it all together. And so that was the selling piece. It was something that I thought was very solving a big problem in golf in terms of development and doing it in a way where it was easy, seamless. And I thought in a way it's gonna help even grow the sport as well, which, you know, that's a really good product or service if you're gonna make even more people get into it and enjoy it. So
that's a crazy journey.
Yeah,
that's an awesome journey to get to Richmond, Virginia, opening up a T-Box.
Well, yeah, so I didn't even get to that piece of it, like the dynamics of like, I mean, that was back in, you know, we confirmed with them, I think it was like April of 25, where we like, yeah, let's do it. Sign the deal.
Quick turnaround then, in theory, right?
Yeah, just over a year
to open up. Granted, I'm not well versed in franchisees, but like seems pretty quick.
That seems like a typical, even though they thought it would be faster. I thought it was going to be faster too.
Okay. Get me on your team. I'll be like, guys, this is really fast.
Oh man, yeah. Like I thought I was going to open last fall.
Okay.
You know, my original mindset, because I wanted to try to catch the winter. But signed the deal, got everything papered. End of April last year. Sold our house in May. Moved from Williamsburg to Richmond last May. Found like a rental because we want, you know, part of it was a lifestyle move too. We wanted to move to Richmond.
Yeah.
We were kind of between Richmond, Raleigh, or Tampa. But definitely want to stay in Virginia, and moved last summer. And then it took about 5 to 6 months just to find a location, because a lot of people don't know too is that Richmond's vacancy rate for commercial real estate is like less than like 3.5%.
Wow!
So it's not a lot to pick from. And on top of that, like, you know, with a facility like what we were looking for in terms of space, a lot of different requirements.
Yeah.
To find a right size square footage, ceiling height, access, you know, right landlord, right location, you know, a lot of different pieces. And so that actually took the longest, was finding a space. And once we found that, then finding someone to help fund it as well, which we partnered with Fulton Bank A lot of people don't know about Fulton Bank because once again, it's a very small bank in Virginia, but a much bigger bank in like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a location right across the street from where I live, so I'm very well versed with Fulton Bank. But I think that might be one of there's not a lot of locations around the Richmond area, but I walk to it every single morning, so well aware with it. So walk me through from Trinidad and Tobago to sports psychologist. How do you make that jump? Was there a point growing up that you were like, this is what I want to do, or is it something that just kind of happened?
Yeah, so like getting into the field of sports psychology, I've always been an athlete my entire life. Reached high school now, very much into competing in sports, competed in hockey, soccer, and swimming, and a little bit of golf at that time, but I realized, it's if you really want to get better, you got to start to kind of narrow down into one. So soccer was that for me.
When you say hockey, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so Trinidad's actually field hockey.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Is that field hockey?
Because they don't have ice. There's no ice rink. It's Caribbean.
That's where my leading up. Like, wow, you got ice hockey down there. Okay, no, field hockey.
They don't have an ice rink in the whole country. No, field hockey because Trinidad used to be ruled by the British, so Commonwealth, big hockey because just in Europe in general, Commonwealth, Australia, England. And then of course many other European nations. It's pretty big. So did that for several years, competing in a men's league. But soccer was definitely the thing that I really loved the most. And next year, I'm like, man, like it would be cool to have a career where I was doing something I really love, and sports was always that for me. And so recognize that probably good to do an undergrad in like business, because whatever business you want to get into, probably good just have some background and knowing that if I want to get in the field of mental health or sports psychology, you're going to need a graduate or a doctoral degree. And that's what makes a psychologist really, is becoming a doctor in psychology. But my own, I was more of a practitioner, so I just did a master's. And so licensed therapist in Virginia, but also what's called like a mental performance consultant by the Association of Applied Sports Psychology. So that's like the gold standard certification that all the professional sports leagues, MLB, NFL, NBA, and even NCAA for college, that's what they look for in terms of like the certification for a sports psychology professional. Just going. And my brother also is in the field. My older brother kind of grew up. He had his own practice. He was a professional soccer player, then transferred into doing like the therapy and the sports psychology. So it kind of motivated me as well. And I was like, did my undergrad, came back and did a internship with the Trinidad and Tobago Sports Company, working with their sport team of psychologists, physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coach, but working and helping provide the sports psychology services to a lot of the national teams and coaches. And after doing that for a year, after I graduated my undergrad, I was like, I love this. And so did my master's in Chicago, where I was going to be dually trained as a clinician in mental health, but also sports psychology. And graduated in 2015. We started our own sports psychology consulting practice in Chicago. It's called the Performance Pursuit. We have a team of consultants that work with athletes all across the country.
That's awesome.
All remotely, because athletes are always traveling for practice games, so they can always jump on a call and talk with their performance consultant to get any support they need. And we are celebrating 11 years this August, so next month as well. So
congrats.
We have grown the team, got a few, and kind of hit all the time zones. And so that was like my first step into entrepreneurship, but also like, really diving into even more like that performance side. And then I stayed in Virginia, and so I got licensed as a therapist. And a lot of my background is in working in mental health as well. So
that's awesome. That's a big crossroads right now, I think, in sports too. Like, the conversation, it's been a thing since I've kind of been following sports, but feels like it's intensified even in like the last, really since COVID.
Yeah.
The emphasis on it. A friend of mine got his master's from Tennessee and kind of talked about his thesis from it. It was sport and rec. I'm going to butcher it. He's going to get mad at me for what the actual master's was, but it was from Tennessee, and his thesis was on mental health and how athletic trainers actually take a pretty big brunt of it.
Yeah.
And since then it's been really interesting. How have you seen kind of mental health change in the sports world since COVID?
Yeah, you definitely see a lot more initiatives. Like the NCAA has come up with a strong policy on it, where now they are trying to have dedicated, like what they call like athletic counselors for the athletic department. So there's, because sometimes the general university resources sometimes are even waitlisted because there's so much just dealing with just general students versus, you're like, let's have more staff available, support staff for like our athletic student athletes. And so I've definitely seen a big changes from a policy standpoint where the hiring, there's a lot more jobs available for professionals in that field for college, but then also other professional sports organizations. Like I think right now, I know NBA and I think MLB all kind of like have a policy now where they want each team to have like a dedicated mental health professional as part of the support staff.
Yeah.
Just to increase access and making sure that, maybe it's part of doing some screenings and just being readily available. Because you're right, like a big thing that it was recognized is that athletic trainers spend the most time with an athlete. And so most likely develop a relationship with them, a professional relationship where they're seeing them on a day-to-day basis. And then quickly athletes are kind of telling them everything. And then the athletic trainer's like, man, like you could probably use maybe some therapy or maybe like I'm seeing here and this, like maybe you should go and see. And so they do deal with the brunt of it. And I think having like easier access to kind of refer somebody has been probably the biggest change. So that's helped a lot with just more opportunities in the space for people graduating with degrees in mental health and sports psychology, but also just increasing access for student athletes, which I've seen is bigger. And then also just a reduced stigma about it, because I think before a lot of athletes used to worry about seeking mental health services because just worry about what's my coach going to think, what's my team going to
look
think.
weak?
And so, and so part of that is just that breaking out of stigma and making it more of a conversation and open door for them.
Fits the bill. Richmond's morning sports talk. If you want to talk Braves baseball,
here comes some late night dynamite here at Truist Park.
There's only one place in town to turn for all the action. 106.1 ESPN, bringing you nonstop Braves action all season long.
High in the air, deep to left field. That's a long gone daddy.
Presented by our friends at Park and Go.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine. It can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hear that? That's Alka-Seltzer, the sound of fast heartburn relief. Because when heartburn hits, you want something that works fast. Quick, Alka-Seltzer. Alka-Seltzer effervescent tablets start neutralizing stomach acid in seconds, so nothing works faster for heartburn relief. Next time when that burning feeling comes on strong, don't wait. Quick, Alka-Seltzer. Try Alka-Seltzer. Use as directed.
This is advertising material.
When a motorcycle accident turns your world upside down, who's going to look out for your family while you're healing? Alexander Chenard Trial Attorneys is here for you, fighting for injured riders and getting families the compensation they deserve. The consultation is free. Call 877-222-6666 or visit alexwins.law. Don't wait, alexwins.law.
This is advertising material. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Every case is different. Philip George is licensed attorney in Virginia, is responsible for legal work. Office is located in Norfolk.
You're listening to Fits the Bill, Richmond's morning sports talk show on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Welcome back into Fits the Bill. You're listening to Sidetracked, our weekly long-form interview series right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Today, we're sitting down with Kai Laird, sports psychologist and the new owner-director of T-Box Richmond. Virginia's first T-Box location, open now at Regency Square. It is a state-of-the-art golf simulator, golf community. We talk all about it on Sidetracked. Full episode is available right now on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts, including Spotify and Apple. We've got a great list of guests coming up on future Sidetracked as well. So be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Fits the Bill, ESPN RVA, Fits the Bill, ESPN RVA on Instagram as well. And you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts so you never miss an episode of Sidetracked, our weekly long-form interview series airing right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond and Fits the Bill. All right, Let's get back into our conversation with Kai Laird, owner-director of T-Box Richmond. So being a sports psychologist, golf is probably one of the headiest games there is. I know you probably don't do it, like, not saying that you're doing it, but golf and sports psychology feels like something that is very conducive to one another. Is that a reason why, too, that you decided to maybe go into T-Box, or is that just happenstance?
Yeah, no, definitely was part of it. Like, I thought, like, with my existing business, that having sports psychology could easily blend in with who's going to be a T-Box. I think a big part of we're trying to work on T-Box too is even just create a pathway for like people who like grassroots, like, you know, after maybe doing like a first tee, want to get into something more competitive, to have a pathway to maybe go to college. And we can make it a little bit more affordable for parents as well, where, you know, you come to one place and you get everything you need, and it's a lot more affordable than maybe I got to get a country club membership. Maybe I got to pay for these tee times as well as lessons, versus being able to give a youth athlete the reps they need. But then also what we did with any member, T-Box could get discounted, a special price for the sports psychology, kind of as part of being a member. So it's, we know they're already committed and spending so much on a membership, is a special price as well to get these services for you, just to make it even more accessible. And so, yeah, that was definitely where, you know, things really aligned for both businesses, which I thought complemented each other very well. And I think it kind of helps add to the value of what we're trying to do at T-Box, where you pretty much could get everything you need to get better in one place.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was scrolling through your Google reviews. Shout out to all your Google reviews, all 5 stars so far.
Yeah, a lot of positive feedback, which has been good. That helps to know that we're doing something right. Yeah.
You had your grandparent also leave a review.
Yeah, my grandmother, she came by for grand opening, flew all the way from England for it. She's huge into golf. Like, she was one of the people who kind of got me into golf when I was younger. She even still plays now, you know, approaching 90, plays like 2-3 times a week.
Good for her.
And she's always looking at ways to kind of tweak her swing and what she could do. And so when she heard about our business, I mean, she was one of the few family members actually. She's like, I'm going to come grand opening, fly across for the week. And it was awesome having her, but kind of gave her the full special treatment of like, come and do like the full assessment with our box pro. She would come like every day while she was staying with us to use the simulators, because she had never used a simulator before. And I mean, she just had an absolute blast working with Brian, our box pro, and using the facility, where she's then like, all right, I'm going to come back. She had never been to Virginia before, you know, to visit. And now she's like, yeah, I'm going to come every year. And so she had a good time. Yeah.
So out of the places you've lived, Chicago, Williamsburg, Yorktown, Richmond, I've got to ask, favorite place that you've lived so far?
Chicago. Yeah. Chicago was a really cool city. You could pretty much do anything you needed in that city, whether you want to go to the beach by the lake, and it's actually a lot nicer than you would think. You know, like, lake is like crystal blue, beach is pretty decent there. And then, but if you want to be downtown, you could jump on a train and be in downtown like 15 minutes. You don't even need a car. Like, I didn't get a car until I came to Virginia. Every type of food you want is there. I mean, they have all the sports professional teams pretty much within the city. Culture is pretty cool in terms of just very diverse and welcoming. And the worst part about it, which is just really the winter, which, you know, that's the thing. But outside of that, I mean, they pretty much got everything you would think, you know, you would be looking for. But I'll be honest, Richmond is definitely continuing to tick in the direction of where I've, you know, starting to enjoy the most, you know, from times I've really, you know, it's only been about a year now since we've been in Richmond, and I've really, really enjoyed, you know, everything about Richmond and the people. It's surprising. It's crazy to think like how well I feel like welcoming a lot of people in Richmond are compared to some other cities where, you know, it's a lot easier to strike up conversations and you feel like people are just really genuinely nice, versus in some other cities, everyone's just hustle and bustle, just trying to get to the next thing. So I've really, really grew fond of Richmond too since we made the move.
Yeah, Southern hospitality was a thing I didn't think existed. I grew up in Fredericksburg, an hour north of here, and then I moved to New York City right out of college, and I was like, "Oh, it's different." And then I'd come back and visit my mom in Fredericksburg, and I'd be like, "Oh, I guess Southern hospitality is a thing." In Richmond, it's kind of even more so.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, Chicago's an awesome city, fantastic city. I love visiting up there. But yeah, the winters there. I was going to ask.
Winters are pretty. I was doing first time I saw snow. I mean, I was there.
Say, Trinidad and Tobago to Chicago, probably two polar opposites when it comes to.
Yeah, but really enjoyed it. It was a great time. You and then moving out to Virginia I'd never been before until we moved, and definitely like really enjoyed Williamsburg too, and very more small town, so you get to know everybody really well. It's a strong community. But then been loving Richmond so far. But yeah, Chicago, that was definitely on the list for sure in terms of favorite.
So in the golf space, going back to T-Box and everything you got going, it is a little bit of a crowded space with indoor simulators, with places that people can just go and play, like Top Golf and things like that, Drive Shack here in Richmond. What makes T-Box so different than the rest of them? How do you guys stand apart from the crowd?
Yeah, so first thing is that we don't really do hourly reservations unless like maybe like you're a big group and it would make sense. Main thing is because we're really trying to prioritize the space to be where people are using it as a training facility. I think that's the first and foremost. That's probably the big differentiator, is that you're coming to train and get better and compete as well when we have the leagues and tournaments. When you go Top Golf and some of those other places, that's more of like entertainment. Like you're going to have some fun, kick back, maybe there's food and drink. We don't do food and beverage by us. We do have a vending machine. You could bring in your own food and drink as well, which I think is nice for some people. Like you could just bring your own stuff and have a good time. But I think for us, the difference is just a dedicated space where you're going to come and get everything you need to get better and put in the work, but also connect with other members, connect with the Golf Pro. And it's we're hoping that it's more of like a second home for you in terms of like, you feel you come and have this really nice place where you can spend as much time as you want working on your golf game as well. And I think that's the difference, right? You go to all the other places and it feels like it's all timed. Like I'm paying for this amount of time, I'm coming in and then I got to leave. And then if I want to come back, I got to pay a certain months, versus all our stuff's looped into the membership price.
So we've talked about improving golf game. Has your golf game improved since working with Brian, your box pro?
Yeah, just a couple of tweaks. It's crazy just to think like one or two things you could do that it changes a lot of trajectory in the game. But my thing now that things are kind of slowing down a little bit, which is nice. I could get in to actually use the facility a little bit more. Before I haven't really been able, because I've just been really so focused on members having a good time and making sure Brian too, he's about to celebrate 3 months since joining with us, just making sure he's feeling supported. And so that's where a big focus for me has been versus my golf game. Now that things are settling, now I'm diving more into it. But for me, what's really been rewarding is to see a few members who have been putting in any time improve drastically. Like we have one of our founder members who started within the first 3 weeks. He had already shaved off 4 strokes off his golf game. So he went from a low 80s to high 70s.
He's already good though. He's already great with the.
And he's buzzing. You can see him. I was talking to him several times, and he was just like, "Man, it's crazy. I've been trying to work on improving this for the longest time. Come get a couple tweaks, and he's already shaved off, and he's enjoying his best golf." We have another guy who just started, did a trial 2 weeks in. Same thing. I saw him the other day. I was like, "How are things going? You enjoying the experience?" He's like, "Man, I just play golf. I'm trying to remember. He said he shaved a few strokes as well, almost played for par. He's like, "Man, I'm killing my friends on the course." And he's like, and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy. It's only been like 3 weeks." And he's like, "No, it's only been 2. I was like, "Wow." It just shows coming in, getting that training program, getting a little bit of guidance and coaching, and then being able to apply it. Because that's the trick, I think, right? Is a lot of places you would go and get a lesson, and then you got to go and get a tee time. And when you think about it, how much time you actually hitting a golf ball on a golf course, it's not very much versus unless you go to the range. And then we all know a range is very different than just playing. Versus you come to simulator, you could use the range feature. You can also play actual course. So it challenges you in a lot of different ways. While you also getting the data. You go out there, you hit it. You don't know how far you hit it. You don't know what maybe went off and what was different versus all the technology in our space is really helping you, give you a lot of feedback and data to kind of see, validate, am I moving where I need to be moving? And I think that's the difference too. It's the technology. And a lot of people think T-Box is just another simulator. It's not. It's really a training facility. And even more than that, I would say it's more of a technology company, because a lot of people don't know about some of the things. Like T-Box has their own club fitting technology, which is AI driven. That's why we do free club fittings. We make it a lot faster to get fitted for clubs than the standard fitter, because it's pulling all the data from TrackMan into the.
That's crazy.
And T-Box is the only one that has a third party relationship with TrackMan too. A lot of people don't know that. So their clip hitting technology called Forge is the only one that has access to TrackMan data feeding it directly. So
that's huge.
When you go and hit, it's taking all the data you get from TrackMan, plugging it into it, and from a data standpoint, really validating which clubs you actually hit better with. So it speeds up the process really quickly versus, you're going to rely a lot on a fitter's eyes and intuition and his own understanding of the data to kind of help guide you. So finding the right clubs is a big thing too. So I think that's part of it. T-Box is that we also do that. Do the coaching, you got the leagues and tournaments, you got a place you can come dedicate versus also a lot of simulator places don't have a full-time coach or manager there.
That's a big differentiator, if I can say that word. And plus, if you are improving your game that much, you can get whatever you're paying the monthly subscription cost. You can win that back on the course with your friends, because if all of a sudden you roll up with your friends and you make a friendly little wager at the first tee, all of a sudden you can profit based off of the improvements that we're talking about here.
Yeah, like our membership, I would say it's probably like just playing 2 rounds on Richmond. Like I know most courses, depending on where you're playing, could average as high as like $100 per round, right? Like I mean, just 2 rounds of that is going to be is like a month-long subscription with us for our membership. So I think that's a big piece. We try to make sure that it's affordable for people, and a perk too is that you can bring guests. A lot of people don't know that. So if you're a T-Box member, you can bring 3 friends with you when you have a tea time at our facility. So you're not just doing it by yourself. You're bringing people to come and use the facility with you as well, which is a nice perk for the group.
That's a fantastic perk.
Yeah.
Want to finish things up here. We ask the same 3 questions at the end of every single conversation, and they're meant for you to take it wherever you want to take it. If it wants to stick with golf, T-Box, by all means. If you want to take it completely into left field, you can do that too. So the first question we wrap things up with is, what hill are you dying on today?
What hill am I dying on today? A good question. Never got that one before. Which one am I dying on? Definitely the hill of just not giving up on what's most important, which is like I think family is always my driving force, where it's like everything I do is really to help put my family in a better place. And so that's whatever hill that is, that's going to help me do it, which most times these days it's like, one, you try and find a work-life balance in terms of how much time you're spending working to be able to provide for the family, but most importantly, too, making sure you're spending a lot of time with the family. And so that's the hill I'm going to down, is the one that I need to make sure that I'm doing what's best to maybe really preserve and provide for the family, but also be there for them as well.
I love it. What's your favorite Richmond experience? You're newer to the Richmond area. What's been your favorite Richmond thing to do, Richmond experience?
Richmond experience. I mean, it's all centered around food. I would say, like, I would say it's all centered around food. So like, I can't say it's like one particular experience, but the way we do experience Richmond is through food. And so like my wife and I, we have like this long list of restaurants on like our phone that we do reviews like ourselves. Like it's like a short list of like every restaurant that we heard is really good, that we're trying to hit all of them. And I think we're only probably like halfway through, because it's a very long list, which shows how much food is available in Richmond. And then you try to review it in a sense of like, man, like the experiences, so you could, if you were to give the list to someone, because someone actually gave us the list. And so we're trying to work on the list to then give it if anybody ever asked. But food has definitely been the big one. Like we of course have some faves that we've developed over this year, but I would say every week we try to try somewhere different.
I like that.
We haven't been to. That's usually how we spend our time. Our date night is going to a restaurant. And,
I like that.
And trying something different. And I mean, it could be any kind of restaurant. Some of them could be like something really small, mom and pop, and then sometimes could be a little big. But I mean, we're always looking to. That's kind of our way to go and experience the city is through the food. And that's one thing I love about Richmond, is like so much food, like options, like, which is good. Like, I mean, we haven't even really come down to like the middle side of things south of the river, because we're still trying to hit all the food, hit all the food groups that we want to do just north of the river, which I mean is so many, because then you find favorites, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, let's circle back there. So I'd say that's probably what is our favorite part about Richmond. to experience is the food.
Yeah, I live in where Scott's meets museum, and it is just restaurant, and it almost feels overwhelming where you're just like, where do you want to eat dinner tonight? And you're like, I want to eat it's so tough. Have you had a favorite so far? Not to put you on the spot, maybe not a favorite, but one that you recently have tried, one of the new places that you've tried?
Yeah, I mean, we've been to some really good restaurants. Just depends what you're looking for, but I would say one that hasn't missed for us is probably Portico. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's for the ambiance, the food you get in, it's already fresh, and so we've never had a bad meal at there. So it's definitely one of the faves, and then. Some of the other ones too that we've really enjoyed. I don't know if you've been to Pinky's.
Yes.
So Pinky's pretty good. One, yeah, for that tapas style.
Brooklyn, right across the street, which is like a cool little cocktail bar.
Fat Dragon.
Fat Dragon, great. Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time in Scott's. Coach Loco. Yeah. People would be like, oh, yeah, like that's one of the smaller ones, but I mean, doesn't miss, like if you're looking for some Mexican food.
You go to Vossen across the street, have a beer, and then you can get the to-go from Coach Loco. Yeah. 10 out of 10.
So we've been a lot of time in Scott's. Scott's got a lot of good options. But yeah, man, it's just so much good food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last question. What would surprise people most about you?
Good question.
That's what these last three are meant for. They're supposed to be thinkers on it.
Yeah. Most surprised. Well, I know naturally the easy one would be like most people are surprised where I'm from. You know, that's usually the big surprise because they always have different ideas when they hear me talk of where it could be, and so that's generally I think where they get most surprises where they actually hear I'm from and like how I got here and long just my story. But about me personally is man.
We asked the thinkers.
Yeah, that's some good. I'm going to even be thinking about that too. And see, most surprised would be. It's so tough. I'm just going to try and keep it real simple. Is that that even though it seems like I like being super busy because I got a lot going on, is that I also really enjoy doing nothing at times. I think that would probably surprise people because they know like. And you got a few businesses, you got different jobs, like you got so much going on. Mm-hmm. But actually what I enjoy most sometimes is actually doing nothing.
I love it. With your accent, what's the craziest guess people have had on where you're from?
Oh man, you look at a world map and they've hit almost every continent. I mean, I've gone it from Australian to South African, to, like more European.
Yeah.
Never US. For sure. Definitely not. Not as much South America, and sometimes some Caribbean, but most times people's guests usually go South African, Australian, or Europe, like Scottish, English, Irish, kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's funny. But Kai, really appreciate your time.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
And congrats on 2 months of T-Bucks. Excited to see you guys grow.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks.
It's the Bill, Richmond's morning sports talk show. Don't go far.
The Golix. I can't imagine you were a fashionista rolling up to training camp with the Philadelphia Eagles back in the early 90s.
I understand it was harder when I played, but I'm not calling this generation soft.
You would never.
I'm really not, because I'm jealous. I am jealous of the fact that they cannot go back-to-back practices in pads. When some days we would go back-to-back practices with pads twice a day. I hated camp.
The Golix, weekday mornings from 10 to noon Eastern on ESPN Radio. This is Freddie and Harry.
I can't wait to see this wide receiver group with Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith and Jigba in a full offseason and a full year starting out for Rashid Shaheed. So I'm going with Seattle as the second best team in the NFL right now, which is so unique about the NFC West, because you can sit up here and make a gripe that the top 10 teams in the NFL, 3 of those are in the NFC West.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry, weekdays at 5 Eastern Time on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
You're tuned into Fitz the Bill, Richmond's only local morning sports talk show on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Powered by Ironclad Coffee and Baking Company.
Oh,
another free one. Thanks, dog. You always hook me up.
Another hour of the fun stuff on deck.
Another one of your nonsensical rambling stories.
I don't want to hear another peep. Okay, all right, here's another one.
All right, another thing before we get up on out of here on this Thursday, I do want to say tomorrow right here on Fitz the Bill, hour number 2, Lake Lewis Jr. will be joining us here in studio. Tomorrow, our 3-a-days also roll along with our high school football previews. Tomorrow, it is going to be collegiate, Trinity, and St. Chris. So that is going to be on tomorrow's show. And we've got some 4-a-days coming next week. I said it, jury duty threw us off a little bit on Tuesday. So fingers crossed we don't get hit with jury duty again on Tuesday. I got to call in 2 more Tuesdays. So everyone cross your fingers on that. But before we get up on out of here, I do want to bring up something. I typically fancy myself as a somewhat man of the people. I feel like for the most part, I don't have crazy opinions that contrast what the general public thinks for the most part. There are a couple I have, and I stand true next to those. But one I do have is on the topic of international football, because I'm seeing a lot of people vote nay on the thought of the NFL going international in terms of a full-time team outside of the United States. I vote yay for that. I think that's a good thing for the sport of football. I think that's a good thing for the growth of the game. Now, you could go down the same path that the NBA has gone down, which it seems like at times Adam Silver and the NBA have opened their arms up a little bit too much to the international game, sometimes neglecting what's happening in the actual association. But I don't think the NFL would have similar problems. They've gone across the pond. They've played in London, in Munich. They've played everywhere, it seems, over there on the European continent. And they have stayed true to what the NFL is. They've also gone down this path before. I said it yesterday. The Jacksonville Jaguars were nearly a team based in London. The Commanders at one point during the Snyder era were allegedly rumored to go over across the pond as well. But the Jaguars were pretty darn close to having it happen. Then COVID happened and it kind of threw a wrench in that entire plan. But the NFL knows what they're doing. They've planned this out. This has been in discussion for over a decade. We're just now hearing about it more and more because I think Goodell is getting a little bit more loose-lipped with it, which means it might be happening in the next couple of years. Look, the NBA just added or is planning to add 2 expansion teams in Seattle and Vegas. The NHL has added a ton of expansion teams over the last, handful of years between the Vegas Golden Knights, the Seattle Kraken, and what are they? The Utah Yeti? Is that what they are? The Utah Mammoths?
I think they're the Mammoths.
They're not good enough for me to know their
Let
names.
me double check.
Yeah,
they're not the Knights.
They're not the Golden Knights. They ain't the Kraken, baby. Go Seattle Kraken.
They are the Mammoths.
And there's rumors MLB might be expanding. The NFL is going to be right behind them in terms of expansion, and they've got it all planned out. In terms of international football, I vote yay. And I don't get why so many people are so against it. Maybe we'll dive into that a little bit more with Lake Lewis Jr. tomorrow. Hour number 2, he'll be joining us in studio. You can hear him today as well with the Lake Lewis Jr. show from 3 until 4 because we are where Richmond talks sports. From 4 until 6, we've got the Mid-Major Match Show with Matt Josephs. Between now and all of that, it's the Golix, it's the Rich Eisen Show. Keep it locked right here, 106.1 ESPN Richmond. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow with our 3-a-days high school football previews.